Tonight, 12 becomes 8 as we visit one of the shortest racetracks on the NASCAR circuit. It's Wednesday night, and that means it's time for the premier sim racing Outlap Motorsports Truck Series live on Green Flag TV. Welcome everyone. I am Derrick Watson, sitting next to Lucas Moody. Evan Posocco has the night off. And of course, Dustin Ollis is going to push the buttons and make us look and sound good down in the production truck. Well, Lucas, here we are. It's cutoff night for the playoffs, and it's going to be at a very unpredictable track like Martinsville.
Yeah, the small track in the middle of Virginia, nicknamed the Paperclip, of course. It's a short track. The banking is minimal at best, and it's just a track that causes chaos, causes pileups, and a lot of good, hard racing.
Well, you see the schedule here, and here we are at Martinsville at the pit road speed limit, 35 at the Paperclip, one of our sponsored races this season. And then we get into the round of 8. It's Phoenix, Michigan, and Coda. So it feels like every round there's been these different eclectic styles of tracks. You see the first graphic there, the 4 drivers that are locked in technically. I would add a 5th and Ted Lowendick plus 51 to the cut line. But Lucas, if we see maybe the next graphic here, well, let's look and see what's going on. So here we are. Now P7, James O'Brien not here. So this looks kind of wide open.
Yeah, of course, James O'Brien not being here leaves those 3 spots open. That 6th, 7th, and 8th position open for all of these drivers going to be fighting over. Of course, Steve Loving is looking to be your best to make it, besides Ted Lowendick, who, as Derrick mentioned, is essentially locked in at plus 51. Steve Loving sitting at plus 21, also looking to really make it into the round of 8. Your drivers that you want to be a little more worried about, you're looking at the 19 of Nicholas Hunter and the 3 of Jacob Dunn, minus 23 and minus 13 respectively. It's a hard place to be, and it really is. I would go as far to say, Derrick, that Nicholas Hunter might just be in a must-win.
Yeah, I would agree with that. The rest of them will wait and see when the trucks line up and how they're going to fare here all night long. Of course, with James O'Brien not there, the cut line kind of moves. Everybody moves up. It'll be a lot of chaos here as the night goes on. Before we get into the race, let's go ahead and take a moment and thank the sponsors who make everything happen, starting at Outlap Motorsports. You know, Outlap Motorsports is more than just a hobby. Motorsports is therapy. They know the garage, the paddock, and the driver's seat can be a safe space. That's why Outlap proudly supports men's mental health and encourages drivers to check in with each other on and off the track. Because what happens off the track matters just as much as what happens on it. Outlap Motorsports.
And of course, the next one, round 6, the pit road speed limit 35 at the Paperclip is, of course, thankfully being sponsored. And of course, speed limits are not suggestions, they are law. Breaking them may lead to an unwanted penalty. Drive at your own risk. If you would like to learn more, please call 1-800-SLOW-DOWN with no W on slow. So it's 1-800-SLODOWN, which is also 1-800-756-3696, and tell them that Mark sent you.
Next up is Hyperion Racing. You know, Hyperion Racing is a top-tier esports team competing at the highest levels of sports car racing on iRacing. With a focus on endurance and team events, this team is built for performance and results. With sports car racing, and while sports car racing, is their battleground, oval racing has always been a core part of their identity and their blood. From short tracks to super speedways, Hyperion Racing applies the same strategy, precision, and competitive edge to every race. Hyperion Racing. Believe the hype. Well, with our sponsors done, it's time to go and take a look now at our Profit Python starting grid. Up on the board, the man who needed all the points tonight, Mark Kalin. He's going to have one more point to his good. He took the pole at a 19.105. To the outside, another contender, and Robert Barney, less than a tenth of a second off the pole. Ted Lowendick qualifies third in that pink machine next to Richard Regan Jr., a possible favorite for this race. P5 is James Morgan. He locked in last week at Talladega, and he'll be next to Dustin Bumgarner in the number 16. Matt Gagnon starts back in P7 in the 14 car. He's next to Bradley Holly, who's also locked into the playoffs. P9 is Doug Evans in one of those Miracle Flow machines, and he's next to Jamie Graham in the 1 car back in P10, Lucas.
And starting in 11th will be the 15 machine of Nick Byer, lining up alongside that 6 of Evan Williams. And just behind them in 13th position, it is Jacob Dunn. And lining up alongside him is that 14 of Brett Adams. One thing to note, Jacob Dunn currently minus 13 from the cut line. So sitting in 14th, probably not where he wanted to start this race. But anyways, just behind them, Steve Loving, who's actually plus 21 for the cut line today, starting in 15th. And alongside him is Nicholas Acosta in 16th. And then in 17th position, it'll be Mike Toomer Jr. and in 18th, Daniel Knight. And then rounding out your top 20, it is that 71 machine of Stacy Hunter and the 19 machine of Nick Hunter, who is currently minus 23 from the cut line.
Nick Sharop will be in P21. He's next to Colton Lane, who did not set a qualifying time. The rest of the drivers here on back not able to qualify. Jeff Evans locked in. Word is he's a start and park for the night. Doyle Lawrence is back in P24. P25, you'll find Nicholas Gadina. He's back after a one-race suspension. Next lined up next to Thomas Sink, all the way back in P26, who needs to point his way in. Colton Easterday is with us tonight, back in P27 in that Lightning McQueen-inspired car. Next to Zachary Burnt, back in P28. And then P29, last on the grid, is Zach Williams, that number 89 truck. You know, with Profit Python, every second counts on the track and in the world of deals. That's the edge Profit Python delivers. It's the ultimate Discord for deal hunters and side hustlers, with lightning fast alerts on price drops, secret sales, and hidden jackpots. Before the rest of the world catches on, you can find out. The race to profit is on. Scan the QR code now. Profit Python. Strike fast. Profit faster. Well, I like those words, Lucas. Strike fast, profit faster. That's going to be the name of the game for those cutoff drivers tonight. You need to strike fast and worry about your profits later, because if you're Mark Kalin, if you're Jacob Dunn, Nick Hunter, any of those drivers up in contention, you have to worry about what you can do quickly to make this work. The lights in the pace car are off, so we're going to be ready to go green this time by. But Lucas, this is going to be a wild night of beating and banging. Are you ready?
Yeah, I mean, it's short track racing. There's going to be rubbing, and there's going to be some door bashing.
Let's see if that comes true. Here we go. Our pace car is down. Mark Kalin gets to wait for the green flag from Barney the Flagman. It waves right now, and we're green flag racing at Martinsville. Whoa, way to the outside is Robert Barney. Going to lose a lot of spots down the grid. That'll hurt his playoff hopes, at least temporarily. Beat almost 3 wide, back in turns 3 and 4. And he's going to be okay. Back to 2 wide racing. Barney down the field pretty quickly here, Lucas. He is already luckily out towards the back. He's in P8, almost out of the top 10.
Yeah, at short tracks like these. What is Logan loose? This might be just a setup where the tires are, the rear tires, I should say, very, very hard to get heat into them, and they're getting loose already in this race.
Yeah, well, the way this setup works, you're right. There's Nick Hunter up top 3 wide now in turn 1, pardon me. You know what, well, you're right. With the way this setup works, until the tires come up, this front end drags a little bit, Lucas, and it sort of wants to tug that truck to the left a little bit when you go into the braking here. So we're going to see a lot of that until these tires get warmed up. Up to the front of the field, though, I said this man was a favorite to win. He's won in short track racing in real life. He's won in short track racing and Premier Sim Racing. That's Richard Regan, already up to P2.
Yeah, that's a great shout. Even though he is already, I believe he's already locked for the playoffs, you can still secure some good playoff points if you're able to get this win here tonight. So yeah, definitely one to watch out for, Richard Regan Jr. And yeah, for these drivers that are already getting loose, they have to be really careful about managing those rear tires, because the last thing you want to do at a short track around here, we're turning so many laps on one set of tires. Last thing you want to do is burn them out on the first or second lap of racing.
That's true. By the way, look up top of your screen real quick. We're watching all the action. We saw Regan come in and set the fastest lap. That would have given the bonus point to him. Kayla went back and did it right afterwards. Kayla now gets the bonus point for pole and for lastest lap. So, Lucas, a little different format here in PSR. No playoff points to carry over, but momentum matters. You can lose some points. You got to be careful here. Lots of wild racing, and cautions out for the first time. And the third lap is Evan Williams back there with Doug Evans in the green car. So we need to wait and see what's going to happen. Lots of damage there to the truck of Evan Williams.
Yeah, I'm starting to look, and I think you're right, Derek. A lot of front damage on that thing. That nose is really pushed
just
in.
got in the back end of one of the Adams trucks there and got himself slow. And that's what happened. The Adams truck wiggled pretty hard, and then the calamity happened from there. You know, Lucas, I'd be remiss. I'm going to hate myself for doing this if I asked you, what lap did that happen on?
I got no clue.
You missed it. That's so your thing. You're so young.
Was it 6 or 7? Was it?
It was. Yeah, it was.
Let's go.
You're such a. I do these things for you, and that's what I get in return. I understand now. A couple cars down, a couple of trucks, pardon me, down pit road. Zachary burnt, Doug Evans, Williams. So these are just the ones involved in the wreck. Jeff Evans has already went ahead and started and parked, so he's down pit road. So that truck likely down there all night long. Well, I think we saw some promising moments here, Lucas. We saw some trucks up front. We saw some good battles. We saw Richard Regan go up a couple spots. So some big moments so far.
Yeah, the name of the game here, Derek, there's really two kind of names of the game. There's one, track position, where if you're just able to secure your spot, able to hold your outside line and not let anybody get a run on you and dive bomb or send it in, you're able to really hold position well, have it in the first place. The second name of the game is just trying to really tire save. If you're not able to pass somebody, if they're really giving you a hard time, just fall back a little bit, fall out of their dirty air, save your tires better than they will, and come 20, 25 laps, maybe you can then push again and look for that position. So I'm expecting to see a lot of different strategies here. You know, maybe people go for early track position, try to make up as many spots as they can, burn out those tires, and then another half of the field, they're going to look to save their tires, you know, fall back a little bit from the rest of the pack.
So that name missing in the P12, that's going to be James O'Brien. I'm not sure what name is missing. That's James O'Brien in 10. So once we get the standings worked out in a second, there's some names missing there we'll want to work through. We'll work on that. Caution, or excuse me, not caution lights. Well, caution lights are out as well, but the lights on top of the pace car are out. This time it's Regan and it is Kalen on top here of the grid. Pace car comes down here, Lucas. Let's try it again. Last time Robert Barney slid way to the outside. Will Regan make the same mistake? We'll come around through turn number 4. We'll wait to go green here in just a moment. Green flag back out at Martinsville.
Yeah, and Mark Kalen in that leading position. Oh, and we're already turning this to 71 machine. That gained glass teal and black 816 right into his rear quarter panel. I'm curious to see how that one started. It looked like they were 3 wide, Derek.
Yeah, it looked like it just got really wild, really quick. Nicholas Acosta's back there. Then to be Stacy Hunter back there in that green machine. So we'll need to wait and see what caused that to happen. And that's going to be our second caution of the night. This was a fear and an expectation of a lot of the drivers tonight, with this being at Martinsville, would be this kind of racing. So far, it's proved true. There's a big checkup right there, and I felt like Acosta had nowhere to go.
Yeah, it's one of those moments of, you know, in real life NASCAR, whether it be Xfinity Cup Series, the Craftsman trucks, the green light pops, the green flag pops, and everybody gets on the gas pedal at the exact same time, roughly. And iRacing in these leagues, you really can't be doing that. You gotta wait for the car in front of you to go, or you're just gonna create a big checkup like that, especially at a track like Martinsville. You know, because it looked like someone maybe got loose, so either someone didn't wait for the car in front of them to go, or someone started in first gear accidentally, or just got too much heat into their tires, got too much burnout essentially in them. But that's, yeah, just a very classic caution or restart malfunction, I should say, that happens all the time.
Well, we're going to rack it up and try it again. Mark Kalen is leading this race, and he might be happy about all the cautions because it means that he gets to go ahead and stay out front. Nicholas Acosta is going to come down pit road. Remember, part of the pit road rules here, Lucas, is going to prove challenging all night. You have to stay to the right of pit road per PSR rules as much as humanly possible. This is probably the most difficult track to stay to the right of pit road.
Yeah, and our league, I know we haven't raced at Martinsville yet. We're racing there next Monday. Pray for me. But our league, when we go to Bristol, puts the exact same rules into play, where you are not allowed to hug that left side lane because you will just gain an unfair advantage. And they do make you go all the way to the right. And as racing drivers, our natural instinct is to turn into the inside when we're going into a corner. So we really have to kind of overwrite our natural instincts to make sure we don't get penalized when we're driving through the pit roads at these short tracks like this. But the pace lights on that car off, Derrick. It looks like we're going to get our third attempt at the green flag here.
We are going to get a third attempt, see if it runs a little better. You'll see everyone's getting prepped up here. And I'm telling you, Richard Regan, I think, is just ready to pounce when the moment's right. It's Kalen, Regan, Morgan, Lowendick, and Gagnon, your top 5. What happens on the restart? We're about to find out here in just a moment. Come up out of turn number 4. And Mark Kalen takes the green flag at Martinsville once again.
Yeah, and once again, he gets a great start in the field behind, able to make it through turn 1 clean so far. You see that bright red 95 on the inside. That is a absolutely stunning looking scheme that he's running here tonight. And yeah, 2x2, far back into the pack, but I assume they'll single file out very, very quickly, as this is not a super speedway like Daytona or Talladega.
Yeah, so you think we'll see that pretty quickly, but it can be hard to find your lane. So up front, your prediction looks to be true, but it takes a few cars back before we find that first battle. That's Bradley Holly side by side. And he is trying to see what battle he can get away from here. It'll to be Matt Gagnon to the inside in the Outlap Motorsports number 14 truck, and it is indeed. And boy, Brad has the disadvantage and almost got bumped out of the corner there.
Yeah, that outside line looking to be really, really good so far. Not only do you get the run out of the corner, but you also get that slight amount of tow down the straightaways. Unless I get absolutely proven wrong, as the 17 of Daniel Knight used the inside to complete perfection to get past that playoff driver of Steve Loving, who, remember, Derrick, he is currently plus 21, and now we have a wreck. That's Adams, I heard.
Adams. Yeah, it's just Brett Adams. We'll wait and see if he got it sideways or if he got some assistance. The replay will load up in a second, and we'll take a look at that and find out what's going to cause our 4th caution of the evening. It's all happened pretty quick, all within the first 15 minutes here. So let's. There's Adams on the bottom of your screen, that green car, green truck, and he's going to get a little bit of assistance from Thomas Sink on around. And so that's bad news for Thomas Sink. Lucas, because if Sink is assigned the caution point for that, there's some negative points assigned to that as well.
Yeah, of course, and he's already sitting -7 to the cutoff line, so he needs every single point he can scrape at. So yeah, that would be really bad if that was assigned to him. And I mean, that crash is so not predictable, but it's one that I've seen a lot. As 2 drivers are fighting, one gets a little bit, tight on exit and has a slower speed than the car behind, and the car behind just doesn't think that he has to slow down as much as he does. Quarter panel gets tapped, car goes into the wall. I see it happen all the time. It happened to me literally last Monday at Homestead, where I have to heavily get off of the gas coming out of the corner, and I actually get tapped from behind. And, I got put into the wall, but I recovered. It's all good. It's something that happens at every track, short track or not, and that's just what happened there.
Yeah, unfortunately, it is just what happened. So once again, Mark Kalen maintains the lead. He's led through every caution so far, and that's about 15 minutes into this race here. And these are quick cautions. That's both good and bad news. That's good news for us, but it's bad news if you need to get any damage fixed. Sorry, I was caught off guard by Kalen and Regan. That maybe having some fun, just doing a little bit of weaving there, just trying to maybe entertain the crowd. I don't know.
Well, Derrick, I think it's funny because the tale that's old as time with me casting here on Green Flag TV is as soon as I start getting into a good color bit and finding a really good rhythm of something that I'm passionate about talking about, a caution just comes out, ruins everything. So it's good to see that it's continuing here in Premier Sim Racing, because I mean, it's happened so many times over in SRA and VOR and all the other series that I've had the pleasure of casting on Green Flag TV. But good to see that tradition continuing here.
Stay consistent. All right, well, let's try this restart again, and we'll see what we can make happen, or if we can keep this thing under green flag conditions. About 12, 14 minutes or so off the clock, and we're getting ready to come through the corners. We'll step on the loud pedal, and we'll go green flag racing once again.
Oh, and look how Mark Kalen checked up the field before going. Really caught everybody off guard. And he especially caught Richard Reagan Jr. off guard, as he is heavily under threat of James Morgan. That's the battle for seconds. Although he seems to get it all sorted out, and he's back to single file there for first and second.
Coming down the front straight we go here across the start-finish line. And You'll see on back, that's James Morgan in the red. And there's Richard Regan. He's brought his double cams tonight. Lucas looks on the right side, Rich in the VR headset. On the left, the foot cam with the nice racing shoes and the pedals. Get a little insight into how Richard Regan runs at a road course.
I mean, that is absolutely premier. I can't lie. That's definitely living up to the name of Premier Sim Racing. As, yeah, of course it's not a road course, but there's a lot more pedal work and maybe even some toe and heel work, I should say, with the clutch pedal.
Did
we do get to see,
a...
you know. No, okay, that's my bad.
Wow.
My bad. Hey, at least I didn't call an oval a road course.
That's true. Not yet. Well, here we go.
Well, I did a long time ago, but
he's trying to close the gap here on Kalen, and you see just little by little he's getting there, almost up to the back bumper. And again, he said Rich has done real life short track racing. He loves this style of racing. He often wins on these types of tracks, but right now at a single groove track like Martinsville, you have to think Kalen's doing the right thing by protecting the bottom, right? Hold on,
yeah, not only that's a big one. That's at least those 3 cars involved in it. I'm looking at the 10 maybe, or the 18.
18, yep. Well, caution's out now, I believe, for the 5th time this evening here at Martinsville Speedway. We'll come on around, and there's the 15 going up and around. Gets hit by Saraf, and he's going to go. Actually burnt in Hunter. I think basically stopped in time. I think just when we caught the camera shot, it looked like they were involved, but I think actually they're going to be pretty clear of that wreck. What starts at the beginning of it? Let's take a look here. Watch the top of your screen. Hey, he just gets loose all on his own.
Yeah, just sent it in the corner too hard. A lot of times what happens if you have your brake bias set too rearward and you send it in too hard in the brakes, instead of you getting really tight in the middle of the corner, you just straight up lose the rears on entry and you're just straight into the wall like the 15 was there. So that's a problem that happened to me a lot at Homestead Monday because we were running a super low brake bias into a super wide track where you really want to send it in, and just a little bit too much brake a little too late, and just that sends your rears loose and it puts you right up into that outside wall.
Well, happy along with us here on Green Flag TV. Derrick Watson, Lucas Moody on the call. We're here riding around here. You're taking a look at some of the trucks a little deeper in the hill. That's James Morgan. He's riding back in P4 at the moment. Bradley Holly, P5. Taking a look back on through Nick Byers, been black flagged, likely due to a pit road infraction of some kind. So he'll need to serve that and get that fixed up. He may have been the cause of the caution, I'm being told. So maybe that's going to be, maybe he's opted to take the end-of-line penalty here at Martinsville.
Yeah, and there's also the fact that Nick Hunter very thankfully escaped that wreck without any damage, because remember, Derrick, he needs a really good race here. We talked about it, minus 23 coming into this race, probably in a must-win situation. He cannot afford any damage on that car, and he really has to start making his way through the field here now, Derrick. But, you know, being all the way back there, the strategy that I would play is to not really go for any overtakes, is to really bide my time, save my tires, and wait for this green flag stint to run. And if the green flag stint doesn't happen and it just keeps going caution after caution, simply just save your tires every single lap, wait for everybody else to pit, and just get the track position on everybody else. Because remember, Martinsville will not be a fuel race just because of how short the track is.
I agree with that. It doesn't look to be a fuel race at all right now. Everyone's running around at pretty slow speed. So here we go. I believe for the 6th time this evening, the green flag's going to pop back out. Mark Kalen's going to lead the field, get a nice jump on Regan, on Lomadick, on Morgan, and others, and we're back to racing.
Yeah, it's once again the pleasures of leading the race in iRacing is that you get to control where you start in the restart zone, and you get to catch everybody else off guard, and that's happened the past 4 restarts now, I believe, if I'm counting correctly, as we have a car going really, really high on the exit of 4 there. Looks like they all got it settled out as, whoa, big checkup into 1 as well.
Wow, look at that big mess right there. The gaggle of trucks, if you will, is all grouped together. We're going to keep this thing green for the moment. There's a pass to the inside. That's Jamie Graham getting to the inside of Matt Gagnon. It's going to come up and track out. Little say hello, little bump, little nick to the truck there, but all's good across the start-finish line.
Yeah, really good move from the 1 there. Just able to brake much, much later than the car on his outside. Get that thing slowed down in time. Get it turned, too, is really hard when you're that late in the brakes. And able to get the run off the corner. So great move to put JM Grant up in 9th place.
Yeah, Colton Easterday now on the move. He just passed by Colton Easterday. Now Colton Lane wants to get up under the next truck. I believe that was Matt Gagnon on the outside, an Outlap Motorsports sponsored machine, and they'll be side by side in the turn 3. Lane will have the advantage. The better lane, the shorter distance, the better run off the corner, and they're still side by side. Lane wins it at the line, but they're still racing.
Yeah, Lane's got the better lane, that inside lane. How many times can I say lane in one sentence? I don't know. You should probably challenge me. But yeah, as you said it, Colton Lane now moves up into 11th position with a great move on the inside. And, you know, Derek, I talked about it earlier where it looked like the outside would be the line to run here. But I'm just getting completely proven wrong as lap after lap, cars are looking to the inside. This is a battle for the lead now.
Oh, it's a change of the lead. Richard Regan to the outside and goes on around Mark Kalin. And Kalin now back to P2. Regan up top. Oh, this is going to be it's the look from Bradley Holly. That's that aqua colored car back in P4. He's right now got Ted Lowendick and Mark Kalin up ahead here. So Holly right now looks pretty calm and chill, and you see both views there. We see not only his view of him, Lucas, we see the view of what he sees through his monitor.
Yeah, this is really, really cool here. I am not a part of a lot of leagues that have these dual camera setups, so this is a really good insight on what these drivers run, especially because everybody runs a different UI. He's running a very interesting one where not only does he have the dashboard up, but he also has a separate tachometer, a different rev limiter than I've seen run by most truck users, and even an external client on that left side. So really interesting to see this dude set up here.
Yeah, Brad's having a good run. He's working through the field at the moment. And we'll thank Brad and all the others for giving us those webcam views tonight and every night of the season here for Premier Sim Racing. It allows us to have a little bit more of an immersion, a little bit more of an understanding of what these drivers are facing all night long. So here we go, about 55 minutes left on the clock here. And you see this now. Remember, you said you thought it could single file out for the moment. Knock on wood, it has. There's Colton Easterday back there. There's Ted Lowendick. This is the battle up front again. This is your top 4. And we'll see what these guys can make of this and see what happens. Ted Lowendick, by the way, Richard Regan, 2 of the trucks, Lucas, running that pink because, of course, it's October. It's Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Yeah, of course, and that's something that I'm really, really happy is getting a lot more awareness over these years. And it seems like every October, the pink is always really represented, so it's always good to see that. And yeah, it's great to get some nice onboard shots, not onboard shots, but some nice shots of Ted Lowendick running that pink car. Just says, you know, these 4 have really single-filed out here. And Derek, they really don't have to battle each other. Mark Kalin and Ted Lowendick, the 2 people not locked in running in this top 4, they're very content, I think, with running where they are right now. Sure, they'd like the win, but you're not going to ruin your playoff chances. To win a race, you don't really have to.
I mean, that's true. I mean, Teddy, of course, came in tonight plus 51 to the good. Mark Kalin was basically at the cut line, though. In his mind, he's got to be thinking, I want that spot. I want that spot. Come back here. He's got to be thinking, hopefully soon we'll get that playoffs picture fixed from early, and we'll get to look at the points as they run. And, let's see what is going on, and we'll see if we can get that fixed up and running. But I mean, you're right now. I mean, you're right though. With Mark Kalin running P2, you have to think that he's probably still pretty comfortable.
Yeah, and of course with I forget who it was not being able to attend the race. It was James O'Brien not being able to attend the race. Kalin, who is actually sitting in 9th position, is effectively sitting in 8th as we have a car into the wall. That's the 28th.
Well, good battles happening here all throughout the race, and we're trying to see what's going to form. Here's James Morgan. Remember, he locked in last week after that exciting win at Talladega. Had a great run and just found his way to the front towards the end of the race and locked his way. So that name is green. That's what the ticker means, by the way, Lucas. If you're on the ticker on the left, if you're green, you're promised a ticket to the next round. If you're orange, you are trying to lock your way in to the playoffs.
Yeah, now we're going to replay. Yeah, that's just really unfortunate for the 14. Gets completely rear-ended by the 48. Luckily, all cars involved were able to save it, not get another caution here for the night because, it's Martinsville. You're not expecting them to be running green this long. At least my league definitely won't be on Monday because I have zero faith in them. But I'm glad we're getting some green flag running here with Premier Sim Racing.
Yep, some good running happening here all throughout the way. And again, if kind of single file, it's kind of a nice calm. It just feels kind of like that. What's that phrase, Lucas? The calm before the storm. It just kind of feels like it's kind of brewing right now, doesn't it?
It really does. And, even though everybody is single file, when pit stops start happening or right at the end of these guys' stints where the tires are really getting worn out and you're understeering on exit, you're oversteering on entry, or vice versa, however you want to look at it, it's really going to get hairy and feisty really, really quickly, and these drivers are pushing much, much more than they are right now. But definitely all calm and single file, but it's a short track, it's Martinsville, something will happen soon.
Here's an onboard look from Ted Lowendick, and all looks to be good here as Ted's riding along in P3. Remember, Teddy is basically locked in. Came in tonight plus 51 on the points. And a small bump almost to Mark Kalin. Kalin, remember, took the pole. Still has the fastest lap of the race, but is kind of falling back from our leader.
Yeah, I mean, you talked about it, Derrick. Richard Regan Jr. just not only has he raced here in real life, not Martinsville, but he's raced short tracks in real life. Not only does he love short tracks, but also he just seems to have the quickest car with you today. So I am not surprised, and I don't think you are either, that the 56 really able to pull a good gap onto Mark Kalin, because the thing with short tracks is that it's really all about consistency and not losing your focus. And just lap after lap, putting in consistent, hitting your braking marks, hitting your acceleration marks. And whoever can do that the best, that's usually the car that will completely dominate these short track races. But now, a third factor has entered the equation, Derrick, and that is lap traffic.
Yep, for the first time tonight, under green flag conditions, lap traffic, that's Nick Saraf, who we saw involved in one of the cautions earlier. So he'll get up high and let Kalin, Lowendick, and Holly on by. Regan already got by him a couple minutes ago. So this is where it's getting a little tricky, though. What lap traffic wants to move out of the way, what doesn't. Typically, you would think, Lucas, that the lap traffic would be a little more difficult for our leader. There's Mark Kalin's bottom of the screen, by the way. No, there's Colton Lane way high. He gets out of the way. But typically, let's watch this for Colton Lane first off. Being told he may have had some issue wildly to the wall there.
Yeah, so it looks like maybe his tires really starting to treat him poorly. And when you... Oh, look at that. Once again, wide on entry. So I just think that he's lost a lot of front grip, and maybe even the contact with the wall gave him a bit of wheel or aero damage. So, yeah, that 60 car, Colton Lane, who we saw making really good moves earlier in this stint, really, really struggling now, down to 14th.
Colton, of course, made an initial round of the playoffs, wasn't able to advance, missed it on a tiebreaker, I believe, of all things. It came really close, so we'll wait and see how the rest of his season plays out as Lowendick got really close to the back bumper of Mark Kalin. These guys are fighting hard.
Yeah, and Mark Kalin now not only falling 2.2 seconds back off of the 56, he's also in absolute touching distance of the 13 and the 184. Here as we have the 60 again in the wall.
Yep, and he's now going to come down pit road. There you see the meatball flag being shown by the officials. He's come down to fix that truck. Down pit road, he'll come under green flag. This will be a lot of laps he'll lose here.
Yeah, I believe it'll be about 3 or 4 laps down. It'll put him maybe even more. And just trying to get into the mind of Colton Lane here. When you make one mistake like that and you really put all the heat into your tires and you're just like, you kind of almost psych yourself out with, oh, my tires are shot, it's undrivable, I can't race anymore. And you start over pushing and over driving the car, which just makes you, or causes you to make even more mistakes. And it's just a really bad cycle that builds and builds on top of each other. And that's what I think happened to the 60 of Colton Lane there. He made that one big mistake, started getting in his mind that his tires were shot, and just wasn't able to recover.
And that's a great analogy. We'll wait and see if he's able to come back on track or if he just went ahead and calls it a night. So far, already almost 40 seconds on that stop. We'll wait and see what does need to be fixed. Meanwhile, second, third, and fourth on your screen, they are about 2.5 seconds behind your leader in Richard Regan Jr. But they're having a pretty solid battle here for the moment. Kalen, of course, needs to hold every spot possible. He has 2 bonus points on the night. And you have to think right now he's got to be feeling the pressure. In a moment, here's Ted Lowendick's onboard webcam.
Yeah, the lucky number 13 machine here. You can see that is the face of somebody who is absolutely locked in and almost even tags the bumper, or the rear bumper, I should say, of Mark Kalen's 62 machine. So I think Mark Kalen really struggling on his tires here. Maybe wasn't able to save them as well as Ted Lowendick or Bradley Hawley was here. So it's going to be very interesting to see how the 62 is able to hold them off if Mark Kalen is able to hold him off. And here's a side-by-side. Of course, it's Mark Kalen on your left and Ted Lowendick on your right.
Great battle. Yeah, you see the side-by-side webcams and you see both of them kind of locked in. It's hard to, you'd be hard-pressed to know that driver on the right, he's 51 points to the good. You'd be hard-pressed to know it based on that facial expression.
Yeah, I mean, he is essentially, we've said it so many times, he is essentially absolutely locked into this round, especially with him running all the way up top here in third place. It would take multiple God Lowendick not to make the round of 8.
Yeah, I mean, I think with just the car count the way it is and everything, and like I said, short of any penalty points for causing a caution, I think it's pretty safe to say he is fairly well locked in. But still riding along, still wants to ride that momentum. Of course, next week is Phoenix. The track sort of hard to I won't say to diagnose, but hard to compare is a better word. I mean, it's, obviously get that short track feel, but it's got the weird dog leg. It's got a lot of speed in it. So it's different than Martinsville, but still maybe momentum means something if you're a driver like Ted Lowendick.
Yeah, Phoenix is definitely closer to a short track than an intermediate, I would say. I would definitely compare it more closely to Martinsville than a lot of the other tracks in the calendar, because it is one of those more flatter tracks, and of course it has that weird, but the simulators of Martinsville really are there.
Yep. On the right side of your screen, there we go. Now you see the points as they're running currently, and you see that right now, look at that P8 cutoff. That's the important one. So Mark Kalen currently on the line and good. Robert Barney is in. Steve Loving is in. Of course, Ted Lowendick we talked about being in. But look at that difference right now, 41-31 to 41-19. That's Kalen to Sink. So right now, Mark Kalen holds a good 12-point lead on the cut line.
Yeah, and we talked about it. Of course, Mark Kalen, 9th place coming into this race, but James O'Brien not able to make it. You can see that red 4 next to his name knocked all the way down into 11th, just essentially for not getting any points from today. And Nick Hunter in a really, really rough spot. We talked about it, most likely in a must-win, as I believe he is currently sitting all the way down, and I can't quite find his name. He's sitting all the way down to 19th, so he's got a lot of ground to make up if he wants to get that 19 machine into the round of 8.
A lot of space to make up. Nick Hunter right there on your screen, P19. He is now riding in behind Doyle Lawrence and Doug Evans. And he needs a couple things to happen. He needs to find his way to the front, but realistically, if you're any of those guys, Lucas, if you're Sink, if you're Dunn, if you're Hunter, honestly, you need Mark Kalen to fall. It doesn't matter what, in the short of winning, right? Obviously, if you win, you're in. That's the way this works here. But, that's how some of those drivers up top with the bigger point totals have gotten their way in. But unless he wins, he needs Mark Kalen to have a bad night. No matter how great his night is, he needs Kalen to stumble.
Yeah, either Kalen or Barning. At this point, you saw they were tied in that 7th or 8th position. And Barney is actually definitely more reachable here, as he is in 5th place with Kalen in 2nd. But yeah, it's going to be very, very tough for Sink and Dunn as some contact maybe, Derek.
Well, I'm not in contact, but I saw Nicholas Ruff get way wide up against the
lane. Oh, yeah.
Wide out to the wall. He did that in front of the leaders the last time by, and I got really nervous, but this time by, he's the one that moved up here and going to let everyone go. And so far, the lap traffic has not been a concern. Typically, Lucas, I started to say earlier, typically the lap cars are a little bit more aggressive with the leader than they are the rest of the field. So I'm kind of surprised as this run has gone on that Kalen, Lowendick, and others have continued to fall back is you would think that the lap cars would want to fight Regan. They don't want to go a lap down. But once you go a lap down, you sort of kind of accept your fate a little bit, right?
Yeah, I mean, 100% fighting for that lead lap not only makes it so you don't have to get the lucky dog next time a caution comes out, but it also just feels better to finish race on the lead lap as a 23 comes into the pits, Derrick.
Yeah, remember, he was involved in some stuff earlier, so he might just want to come down now and inspect the truck, see how it feels. And I mean, we're a good number of laps in at this point. Where we're currently working lap 83. I know which sometimes in PSR we focus on the clock, but 83 laps is a lot.
I mean, we talked about it. Tires, tires, tires. Save them. It is not a fuel race. You can make it probably 10 million laps of fuel on, or 10 million laps on just one tank of fuel here, excuse me. But tires is what you're going to have to try to extend and take as far as you can, because if you're able to save your tires all the way up to the next caution and save yourself down and save yourself from going 4 or 5 laps down, that is absolutely huge. As Richard Reagan Jr., we talked about it, the 41, Derrick, not wanting to get out of the way for him.
That's Doug Evans. That's going to allow him to lap up to P18 on the board. P15 on the board. Matt Gagnon, his teammate, would be next in P15, and Rich is just kind of walking away with this race so far. The clock is ticking down pretty quickly here, about 40-some minutes on the clock as things are moving finally here. Get ourselves a run. Look how much Rich is working that wheel. It looks pretty calm, though, doesn't it? Watch the hands as we come into turn 1 here, Lucas. Some nights I'd always say, oh, as he digs to the inside of Gagnon there. Sometimes I'd like to say, you can tell how happy a driver is by how much those hands are moving.
Yeah, well, not only is he very calm on the wheel, keeping his throttle inputs under control will really help with that, Derrick, is if you're not overdriving the car and exit, you don't have to do all of that shaking and sig-sawing and, you know, what have it on the wheel. But the thing that I actually have noticed more is, wow, he gets a big slide there, is look how close his wheel is to his chest. I know everybody has their own preferences, but I have really long arms, so I like to be really, really far from my wheel when I actually drive, and essentially nearly fully extending my arms, but he has that wheel all the way up to his chest, it seems.
Certainly does. He gets around Mike Toomer Jr. That allows him to lap up through P14. Dino Knight and P13 would be next. A little weird to think. Let's watch what happens. Those two have had some moments in the past. It's been a while, and I think that rivalry has cooled off, and I'm not suggesting anything would happen, but always kind of fun when you see a Regan and Knight named next to one another here, and you see a truck way up top. That might have been Stacy Hunter, I believe. It's kind of, that sun glare is getting a little harder to tell, but I think it is Hunter up there. And here is that up back to the field. This will be back for P7 on the board. That's James Morgan in the 12. That's Jamie Graham in the 1. And there's Williams on more on back. And you see here, Jamie Graham wants to get around Morgan. Morgan's kind of out for the joyride. Remember, he locked in last week at Talladega. So he gets to kind of just have some fun, as much fun as you can have at Martinsville.
Yeah, I mean, no pressure racing is one of the best ways to go racing. That's why a lot of drivers enjoy the clash. They enjoy these races where they're already locked into the playoffs. It's because you can go out there and, aside from killing the entire field, you could really do whatever you want. You know, really limit test the car, see what you can get away with, and really drive to your limit without having to worry about ruining your championship standings. And you can see, oh my gosh, he is getting on the bumper of that 12. He is saying, get out of my way, I'm quicker than you. And that is something that you see a lot at short tracks.
Trying to make the pass on the outside, but that 29 truck was in the way a little bit, so he'll have to wait another corner, see if he can maybe make the dive. It's weird to think someone's going to make a dive to the outside of Martinsville, but he is trying his best to find whatever pathing he can make. Maybe using a little bit of the chrome horn to try and make the pass. This is a good battle here, and it's a nice, respectful battle from Jamie Graham. I mean, if you think about it, Graham's had multiple shots. If he wanted to, he could have been way more aggressive. He could have done something awful here. But he's just trying to do some good old classic Martinsville racing with the front of that truck. Oh, and he might have finally got there.
Wow. I think he knocked the 12 a little bit wide, took his left rear quarter panel, found the inside he needed to, and now James Graham has that position up to 7th, and that's what you see at short track. A little bump wide and sent to the inside.
Oh! That's coming. There's the caution. That felt like that was coming. Wow. Morgan just, I don't know if he didn't appreciate the bump or if he wanted to send a message or maybe he thought that really was going to work. Oh, hold on, James Graham. But there we go. So let's go back to a couple replays. First is going to be Doyle Lawrence. Let's watch what happens to him on the front straight. He's down. That car just slaps to the inside and got loose. But this is not what brings out the caution. The caution is going to be for this replay right here. It's going to start with Graham getting around Morgan. And I kind of recall a few races ago, maybe it was last season even in fact, that Graham and Morgan maybe had a bit of a tussle before. But watch this. Morgan just shoots to the inside. And Lucas, there's no way that I thought Morgan thought that was going to stick.
Yeah, the 12 just slides up a little bit in the middle of the corner, and that's enough to create that contact. But some good hard racing, and I apologize for not shutting up, as I think you were calling that from a mile away.
Okay.
As you were looking to I think as soon as you saw the 12 go to the inside, you knew they'd make contact. As a lot of pit stops happening here, and that does not surprise me at all.
Full sail pit stops here. 4 tires and gas will be the call up and down the field. There's your leader and Richard Regan Jr. He'll go ahead and get in his pit stall, and he'll get on out. And he came first in, first out on pit road here at Martinsville. Look at the times on the right side of your screen. Mark Kalin, a long stop, 15.1. He, I think, still going to come out second somehow, but that is a drastically long stop under yellow flag conditions.
Yeah, what's the saying around here, Derrick? 4 Goodyear tires and some good old Sunoco fuel and get that car back on the racetrack?
Something like that. Well, you know what? While we're under caution, we've been having a lot of fun talking about tonight's race, Lucas. What we need to do is take just a second and look back to last week's race. It was an incredible race at the Talladega Superspeedway, and those photos will be provided by Mr. Hedge. An incredible race last week. We had some 2, 3, even a 4 wide moment at the Superspeedway. Of course, it all ended with James Morgan locking in his playoff spot into the round of 8. You know, at Mr. Hedge, sim racing is full of unforgettable moments, and Mr. Hedge can help you capture them all. From your first wins to fresh liveries, even the crashes you'll want to forget. Mr. Hedge turns virtual racing into memories worth sharing. They're clean, they're sharp, and they're made for sim racers. Visit mrhedge.co.uk to get the best moments in focus. Well, who's focused right now in this race at Martinsville? Lucas, that's going to be Richard Regan Jr. He is your leader. He's the control car. And with the pace car down here back on pit road, it's time to go green flag racing. Once it's Regan, it's Kalin, it's Lowendick in your top 3, and the green flag is back out.
Yeah, now Reagan being that leader on the restart, he gets the great jump, and Kalin trying to file in single file just behind him as we're 2 by 2, multiple cars into the back, as I think Kalin now on the outside of Ted Lowendick. Remember, that inside line has been treating these drivers really, really well here tonight, so the 13 might just be able to get this pass done on the 62 here.
Yep, there's Lowendick shooting the inside. He's going to try and make the pass on Mark Kalin, take that second spot away, and then Bradley Hollywood will be laying and waiting there afterwards. But Kalin pulls ahead for the moment, gets just above the curbing there on the corner. You see a nice shot of that from our green flag TV cameras, and all seems to be going well. There's still some 2 wide racing in the back here. You see Doug Evans trying to make a move back there. We see James Morgan, he's side by side yet again. That time with Dustin Bumgarner, and all the pass goes much better that time.
Yeah, now I want to turn our attention to Jacob Dunn, who's currently, he's currently 10th, I believe, in these playoff standings. But he really needs to start setting his eyes on Mark Kalin ahead of him and really just making as much ground as he can, because even up here in 5th place, he's still about 10 or 11 points from the cutoff line. So not only does he have to start making some positions rapidly, he needs either the 62 or the 26 to start losing some place rapidly as well.
Yep, right now the 26 is right behind him and Robert Barney, so he's 1 spot to go, but that's not enough. So he needs to get up here to the field, and heck, he's running P5, so he's got to be happy about that. Look at the points on your screen. Ted Lowendick's in P5, Loving's in P6, Barney's in P7, Kalin's in P8. That's your cut line. Then you got to go back 10 points to Thomas Sink. That gap is closed a little bit, but I do fear there may be a penalty coming for Thomas Sink. Then Jacob Dunn, James O'Brien, and Nick Hunter there back through the field. So here we run now up front. Remember, if Kalen gets up front and wins, he's in no matter what. That locks that spot in. So Kalen's got to feel good here with about 32 minutes left on the clock.
Yeah, for these drivers like Mark Kalen and like Robert Barney, it's really just a race of you put yourself in the position you need to be. You know, they're currently running 2nd and 6th respectively. You've put yourself into that position. Now just stay here. Don't make a big mistake and don't get taken out and don't get involved in a dumb accident. Sometimes it really, really sucks to have to drive to just not make a mistake because it's a bad mentality and it really kind of messes with how you push the car and, you know, just what you're racing for essentially. But if you're the 62 or the 26, racing to not make a mistake here just might be the way to go.
Yeah, they're almost live in the moment risk assessments, right? You got to figure out what you're willing to do and what you're not willing to do. You know, when I talked to Robert Barney pre-race, he told me, he said, listen, I want to race it clean. I want to get in. He paused for a second and he said, you know what? But I'll use the bumper if I have to. So we'll see if that does come to be a necessity tonight. Meanwhile, here's Nick Hunter running back in P19. He's got the multiple computer systems set up there. Got the VR headset on and everything in the background. So pretty cool to see Nick Hunter set up there and thank him for that webcam shot all night long. Currently running right in behind Doug Evans, one of those Miracle Flow teammates. And both these guys now, I still believe, are running a lap down on the board. And they're all trying to run down Stacy Hunter to be the lucky dog if another caution comes out.
Yeah, of course. And the last driver we should talk about if we're going down the playoff grid is Thomas Sink, currently sitting in 9th. Last time that graphic was showed, I believe he was, I completely forget. Yeah, here it is again. He is 10 points behind that cutoff line. And you know, he's sitting in 9th, so he has a lot of space to make up and a lot of spots that he can start gaining. And I believe every single position is 1 more point added to your tally. So Thomas Sink also one of the favorites, even though not in a try to make their way. Oh, and Barney! This is exactly what Thomas Sink and Jacob Dunn need. We talked about the 26 not being able to make mistakes, and a huge one puts him down to 7th.
Yep, there it is. You see Canada's jumped Barney in the points. Now the numbers are going to drop and move around and change around a little bit here. Robert Barney's back in the field a little bit here. He has fallen back, I believe, to P7 on the board, so he's okay for the moment. But now he's under attack from James Morgan, under attack from others as well. Thomas Sink, Steve Loving, Colton Easterday would be the next trucks on back. Now less than 30 minutes on the board as we get ready to close in. And there's a contact with Nick Hunter and was that Zach Williams, I believe, right there. That black and purple machine. And we're going to say green flag racing, but I'm curious what may have caused that because that looked a little brutal.
And it's a tragic, tragic incident for Nick Hunter, who, in the must-win situation, sitting in 20th, a lap down now, getting involved in that accident, really, really going to hurt his shots of winning this race, and it might be all but over for the 19, unfortunately.
Let's go on board with Nick Hunter and see what would have happened in this moment. And there's a truck to the inside, got tapped by Matt Gagnon, and then, Williams just had nowhere to go. He just sort of slammed in there, but I don't think he had any time to really react to it. So that's what caused that moment we saw live. No caution. We stay green flag racing. Watch this again from Williams' point of view here, Lucas. Nowhere to go. Oh, maybe a little bit.
Yeah.
You know what?
I mean,
I changed my vote.
Well, I'm going to say from a driver's perspective, you see a car sliding up into the outside wall. You don't usually expect them to come back down on the track, especially not at a track that doesn't have any banking like Martinsville. So when the 19 is getting loose, you expect him to move out and upwards towards that outside wall, but he did not, and unfortunately the car behind couldn't react to him moving down inside the track. And even if he could, I mean, where do you go? You're at that point in the middle of the corner. You set your line about 5 seconds ago. I mean, you're kind of trapped no matter what.
You could have been on the brakes. That's all I'm saying. You could have been on the brakes.
Okay.
We'll see how that goes. Well, here's up front, by the way, as the battle continues on up front. This is Ted Lowendick. He said that Columbus Blue Jackets inspired cars. Got the gummy cluster up on front with the pink shading for the month of October. Behind him is Bradley Holly. And you know what? While we're looking at Bradley Holly, let's go and do our Miracle Flow team update. We'll start with Bradley Holly. He's been up front almost all night long. He's up 4 spots after qualifying P8. A good, solid run for the driver currently locked into the round of 8. We move back to the field to find our next Miracle Flow driver, I believe to be Doug Evans. And Doug had some moments here tonight. They've been gotten collected in an early accident and currently runs a lap down the last I looked. He is currently sitting P18 1 lap down. And weirdly enough, that is 2 of our 3 cars in the race tonight. The other one will be Jeff Evans. He's already started parked. He is parked on the track, 121 laps down, and he is done for the evening. Nick Schwartz not here this evening, so that concludes your Miracle Flow team update. You know, Miracle Flow is more than hair care. It is built for the bold. Miracle Flow was founded in Rochester, New York back in 2015, and they were created to elevate your look and your lifestyle. Made in the USA and crafted for real performance, it's trusted by those who show up ready, whether it's a game night with the boys or a night out on the town. No shortcuts, no gimmicks, just results. Miracle Flow, because your flow isn't just style, it's a statement. And the statements being made tonight up and down the field, whether it be the playoff drivers who are locked in like James Morgan, who kind of showed he was frustrated with Jamie Morgan and all the bumps. Whether it be the statement of Richard Regan Jr. back from all the tech issues and trying to kind of walk away and win this race, or maybe Mark Kaler and others wanting to lock their way in. Lots of statements being made up and down the field tonight, Lucas.
Yeah, and one of the statements being made is actually by Jane Graham and that #1 machine. As I'm looking through our timing table here, I'm seeing 29 lap old tires, 29 lap old tires, all the way down. And then you get to James Graham, 125 lap old tires for that car. He has not yet pit at this race, or in this race at all. Currently sitting in 14th. The first car on the lap down, as he literally just went a lap down to Richard Regan Jr. Incredible that he's holding on to those tires.
Yeah, I want to double check if just our scoring system didn't catch that. So I showed on my timing as well. I see what you see, that the same thing. And I want to take a look at his lap times real quick here. But you're right, man. I don't see any indication, at least instantly. That would be a wild if he didn't pit under that last caution, unless he did it just to try to get the lap back. I don't know, but that'd be
that was my assumption.
Long race. Yeah, that may be right.
Yeah, because when you are a lap down like that, if everybody in front of you pits, and the leader is actually behind you, but you're technically a lap down under caution, it's really weird, but you'll get the wave around the pace car and you can get your lap back. So if he stayed out initially to get his wave around...
Speaking of caution...
Oh, the caution!
Mike Timmer.
Once again, a caution ruins my color bit.
And that's okay. That's actually going to help your color bit a little bit, because that's going to help Jamie Graham. He was in the lucky dog spot. So this time he would get the free pass, and he could pit this time for those new tires. Here's Mike Timmer Jr. coming into the corner. Just loses it on his own. Yep, goes on around. Parks it. No contact. Caution is out.
Yeah, no contact being made there with the 42. Does look like a very NASCAR type caution, not something you see a lot in iRacing. So I am surprised it was thrown. We have a lot of takers to pit lane. I believe is that the 3 or the 13?
That's the 3 of Jacob Dunn.
That's the 3 of Jacob Dunn. Okay.
Yep, so he's down pit road. So is Bradley Holly, Dustin Bumgarner, Daniel Knight, and others all down pit road. So this will be your first time we've seen some different strategies. There's cars who stayed out. Regan, Acosta, Lowen Dick, Barney, Morgan, and Loving. Your top 6 are going to stay out. So now we find out how good are new tires at Martinsville.
And this just made this race 100 times more interesting. Instead of it being a battle of, just plain old tire saving, who can do it better? Now it's a battle of old tires versus new tires. Track position versus raw pace. This is what I wanted to see at a short track like Martinsville. And for these guys that just pit, the lead car that pitting is, of course, going to be Bradley Hawley, who's, remember, well, not in the playoffs running, but, still a very quick driver. Yeah, already locked in, sorry. But Jacob Dunn is fighting for playoff position. He is going to be looking to make his way through this field and really make a statement with these new tires here.
It's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen, because Kalen and Barney, who are trying to hold on to those cut spots, stayed out. Drivers like Dunn and others did pit. This will be very interesting to see how this plays out. And Remember, Bradley Holly is the first driver on new tires. Now, Lucas, you may not know, Bradley Holly has over 200 career league wins across all of iRacing. A winning driver, a successful driver. He actually has a funny moment here many years ago at a race at Martinsville, I believe in the trucks. He actually got involved in a wreck where he went flipping down the front straight and flipped over the pit wall in an iRacing race in the trucks. That was pretty wild to see. You can see those clips across the internet if you search for it a little bit. But yeah, the truck literally flipped over the pit wall at Martinsville. What we're going to do is we're going to step back for a second. We're going to shut up. We're going to crank up the track microphones, and we're going to let you experience the sights and sounds of Martinsville. Welcome in here. Let's go ahead and feel the noise at Martinsville as the green flag comes out.
And to feel the noise gets cut off early as the caution comes out. We see the 17 spun in the background. That's Daniel Knight, of course. We don't quite know how that started. We'll get that replay here for you all soon, but we did see a fair bit of drivers falling down the order. Jacob Dunn being one of them, who's currently in the pit lane. Thomas Sink, another one who is battling, and here we go. That is the 3 of Jacob Dunn gets tapped. And oh, forced top of 3 wide. And yeah, I can see exactly how that happened. Oh, contact ahead of them too, as there was 2 separate incidents that happened. And Jacob Dunn got involved in the one that happened ahead of him because he couldn't slow his car down from the one that happened behind. That is an absolutely freak accident if I've ever seen one. And Jacob Dunn, who was looking promising to maybe fight for that 8th position in the playoffs, now just completely out of it.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. You have to think with that truck being towed to pit road, that's likely going to end the hopes of Jacob Dunn. Here's the first incident that's going to happen. Watch the 3. He's going to get a bit of a tap. Yeah, it looks like, wait, that's maybe from Dustin Bumgarner or from the 17, I couldn't tell. Gets up top 3 wide with Easterday and wants Thomas Sink. But Dunn, this is the more confusing one. Gets up top to the wall and just gets involved here with the 17 again. The 17 ends up turned around facing the wrong way. That's the one I'm more curious about. That's Daniel Knight, I do believe, in the 17. It is indeed. So what happens to Daniel Knight, and why does Jacob Dunn barrel on in? So let's watch this. So here's Daniel Knight. He goes on through the wreck. He's got James Morgan to his inside. Oh, they're 3 wide. Bumgarner came just barreling in, and I don't. Wow. Don't know if Dunn just didn't see it through all the smoke. Maybe I would be curious about that. And wow, Bumgarner came barreling into the inside and forced it 3 wide, and Knight lost out.
Yeah, we had 2 different 3 wide incidents at Martinsville on the same exact lap, which caused 2 different wrecks. So, Derrick, I think 3 wide isn't really what you want to see around the paperclip here tonight, and we saw firsthand experience why that's the case.
Yeah, we're still getting the cars lined up properly. We're going to extend this car so by 1 lap. We're going to set the field here. We're at, let's say 18.5 minutes to go on the board. Richard Regan's in first. Mark Kalen's in second. Barney and Lowendick in row 2, 3, and 4. Bradley, Holly, Steve Loving, 5th and 6th. Bumgarner, Easterday, Jamie Graham, and Mike Toomer Jr. round out your top 10. Well, I'm going to say this as they come around here and the lights will go off once again. That might just settle the playoff picture. If we could take a look at the playoff points, I think it's kind of done here, honestly. Look at this. There's 7th and 8th. That's Barney and Kalen. And that's a good number. That's 14 points back to Thomas Sink. Jacob Dunn likely out of the race. James O'Brien, Nick Hunter. I think that caution may have just determined the cut line. Thomas Sink will be the last one, I believe, on track. And he is currently out there running, I do believe. He's the last one that can make a difference here.
Yeah, Thomas Sink he's waiting. If any of those guys in 5, 6, 7, or 8, if they make a mistake, Thomas Sink is there and waiting.
Oh, green flag's back out. Richard Regan, remember he's had some tech issues the past couple weeks. Those virtual gremlins have popped up, and he's had a hard time finishing some races. But I think everyone knew coming in tonight at a short track, this was likely going to be his spot. There's Thomas Sink. He's 3 wide, just trying to lay back and get out of the way, and that's what's going to happen. Lowendick's fighting up top with Mark Kalin. Bradley Holly's up here, as is Robert Barney. They're 2 wide through the corner, and they're still fighting pretty hard. Remember, Mark Kalin wants to stay up here, doesn't want to have anything bad happen, and he's going to keep fighting through 3 and 4.
Yeah, it's when you're up here in these positions like Mark Kalin, like Robert Barney are, if not only do you get the good points from it, but it's much, much easier to hold track position when you're not in the middle of the pack with people pushing their tires out, sending you like 3 wide on your inside, 3 wide on your outside. It's just really chaotic in the back of the pack, and up here at the front that these top 6 drivers are, it's much more calm, and it's 1 driver going for a move at a time instead of 3 drivers looking for 3 different overtakes, and the caution comes out.
Yep. Colton Easterday up top. We'll wait and see if that is in fact the cause of the caution, but that Lightning McQueen inspired machine is up there and slow on the top of the track. Those will bring a caution out. About 16 and a half minutes to go as the clock continues to tick, 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 ending the round of 12. So right now we'll come on around. Barney the flag man vigorously waving that caution flag, and well, Osterdays got bumped and up in the wall, and I couldn't get a number from that shot on who may have bumped him. Was it being told it may have been the one of Jamie Graham? So Jamie Graham having an interesting night here. Oh boy.
Yeah, already been involved in a couple of incidents, and yeah, I didn't really catch that entirely. Derek, what happened there?
I'm not sure how they got together, but I mean, Jamie Graham just got into the back end of Easterday and up the wall, or up the hill. Easterday went and into the wall, and now he'll be down pit road. There it is again. So watch down the back straight. Graham's on the left.
Oh.
Who came where will be the question for the stewards to review afterwards. Some might believe that Easterday in that red truck came over. Some will probably believe that Graham maybe came up. So we'll have to wait for that review to come out and see what comes of that here. Let's look on back from Dustin Bumgarner. You see the moment right happen. Watch right behind him. I mean, just from that initial shot, I kind of think it had to be Graham coming up, because I mean, Easterday was almost up against the wall. Where was he supposed to go?
Yeah, that's what it looks like as well. With contacts that are so close, like that one, I've said it before. I just think it's a racing incident. If we're deliberating this long on a contact, then odds are that one or no driver is solely at fault, and that putting the penalty on one of those particular drivers would probably be unfair, because it's racing, it's a short track, rubbing is racing is what I believe. It's going to be close, and with stuff like that, I just think it'd be very, very hard to give either of those drivers a penalty for that.
Yes, our stewarding team will be up late tonight looking at this race and all the cautions. They'll review all the slow-mo replays, all the telemetry, and try to make an informed decision the best they can. They'll put that stewarding report out on Fridays, and you have to kind of see who does what. A couple things to note here. Richard Regan's still your leader, but Ted Lowendick has moved to P2. Mark Kalin's in 3rd. Bradley Holly's in 4th. So we'll have 2 pink trucks side by side here on this restart. And this time, Richard Regan, by the way, has chosen the top lane for the restart. Nothing different, by the way. I want to point that out and say, the call, he's picked up top a lot of times. I think for some drivers that may be surprising, but Regan is really good restarting on the outside. Green flag's back out, up in the air. Regan gets the jump. The rest of the field's on behind, and they're into turn 1.
Yeah, and the other interesting thing with this group is Bradley Holly in 5th place. He is on the freshest tires, 34 laps newer than everybody else in front of him. He's already made up a lot of positions, and look at the pace that he has into these corners, Derek.
Yeah, I think I even saw maybe give a small bump to Lowendick there as he's trying to find his way through and have a moment. And Bradley Holly is the one driver that needs this race to go green. He needs time to use those new tires. These caution laps don't help. The time ticks away pretty far. About 4 minutes per caution is what we're going to see here. And so if you're Bradley, look at that. I mean, he just quickly got Lowendick. Like, it's like cutting through butter right there.
That was so easy. He was
Never
only
mind, hold
had.
on.
Oh my gosh. I should just. Oh, what's 4 cars involved in that one?
Zachary
5 or
Robert
6.
Barney up top. We'll see what that does to Robert Barney. That could be a spot maybe open.
Playoffs are open. Playoff doors
Maybe.
have now
Let's
opened
see.
up for Thomas Sink.
Daniel Knight was involved in that. The 17, we saw him turn sideways. So wait and see what the damage is for all these trucks. Caution comes out just around the 12.5-minute mark. And we'll wait and see what happens here. Of course, a long night here. And there's Robert Barney in the middle of your screen. They spin him behind you. He just got tapped. He just got tapped by Bumgarner, and up the hill he went. Doesn't get hit by anyone, so I think he's going to be okay, all things considered.
That would be the worst way to lose your playoff spot in the round of 8.
Watch on back.
To simply 2 cars getting into each other behind you and then ricocheting into you. I would be furious.
Yeah,
a lot of collateral damage from behind.
Yep. So what happened there was it looked like maybe Knight got in the Bumgarner got into Barney, and they went on around. Some more pit stops going to happen here. Mike Toomer, Daniel Knight, Zachary Burnt. We'll wait and see how long these stops are and who's doing what. The problem with taking any kind of, if anyone had tires left here, Lucas, the problem would be, do you really even have the time to use them at this point, right? I mean, we're down to probably about 10, maybe 9.5 minutes on the clock when we go green. You know, Bradley Holly's already facing problems just getting 2 more spots with new tires. It'd be hard to use any new tires if you had them from the back of the field, I would think.
Yeah, I think if you're already back there, like if you're already in 17th, 18th, 19th position or whatever, definitely take the tires and, you know, throw something at the wall, see if it sticks, and maybe those new tires will give you some more stickiness to the asphalt to get you around the other cars quicker. But if you're up in the pack, you are never losing track position this late in the race to take new tires. I 100% agree with that.
I agree. Well, listen, if you're having fun tonight here watching Premier Sim Racing with the Outlap Motorsports Truck Series, stick around all week here on Green Flag TV. Lots to upcoming. Right now on the other side of Green Flag TV, Nolan Ripple Finicini's over at the Homestead Road Course with the Beer League. Tomorrow night, the Speed Cup Series is at Martinsville. Friday night, the Zero Torque Racing League, yourself and Nolan Ripple will be at Darlington. Then you'll be back, I believe, on Sunday for VOR, the Vortex Online Racing League at Road Atlanta, next to Gary Godso. Saturday night, Sim Racing Association with their Gen 4 cars goes to Richmond. On Sunday, the Classic IndyCar Series at Sebring. We'll wrap it up with the Blazing Pedals League at Nashville, and then the season opening race of the High Tide Racing League, Nolan Ripple, Justin Prince at Daytona Monday night. We get ready to go green flag racing once again. Richard Regan hits the green flag. He hits the gas pedal. We go, go, go with just under 10 minutes on the clock.
Bradley Holly has that inside line of Ted Lowendick once again, just able to drive completely straight through him, as that 184 machine is going to get really, really feisty here, as you can just tell by the way he's driving and by the way he's closing into to Mark Kalin. He has a lot more pace than these guys ahead.
Wants to go somewhere, doesn't he? Wants to have a move happen. Wants to see what he can do and make happen here. He's going to try and do it right now. He's got to make it happen quick, though. These minutes and seconds tick by fast. He's up to the bumper of Mark Kalin. And can Holly come through and win yet another race? That's the question. Inside.
Yeah, I believe you mentioned it, Derek. Was it 200 league wins for
Over
Bradley Holly, if I'm not
leagues.
mistaken?
Yep.
That is insane. I have 3, which pales in comparison. I was pretty proud of mine, but facing the number 200, it seems absolutely minimal. So, I mean, I can't even imagine how much time, how much consistency that 184 has, is moving up to second. Time to chase down Richard Regan Jr.
Boy, a battle between the 56 and the 184 is something we've seen multiple times across Premier Sim Racing, plus all of iRacing. These two drivers known to battle good, hard, and clean, but somehow always find their way up to the front when these races are ending. Up and down the field, Kalin, Lowendick, and Steve Loving, your top 5. You got Sink, Morgan, Hunter, Doyle, Lawrence through your top 10. Nick Hunter having a good solid run here, but look at the gap on your screen, half a second right now. And Bradley Holly, look at those numbers on the bottom, green and green, almost maybe 0.2 of a second per lap. He's trying to catch Richard Regan.
Yeah, those 34 lap fresher tires doing absolute wonders for that 184 machine. And I'm also curious, of course, we want to focus on this battle, but remember, the playoffs are on the line. And with Robert Barney taking that tumble down the order, sitting in 8th, look at that, 2 points now. The gap between Thomas Sink and Robert Barney. That is literally, if Sink gains 1 position, Barney loses 1. That is the difference. And Sink just moving to 6 as Steve Loving is falling down the order as well. So Thomas Sink now 1 point off the cutoff line.
This is getting close, isn't it? Getting good to go. 7 minutes on the clock. Let's take a look. Robert Barney right now is on the grid, and he is racing back down to P12. So he's having a hard time. So P6. Hold on. Caution's going to be out again. That's Robert Barney. And, yep, that's going to pile in there. And caution will come out. And this, I think, levels the field, by the way. I'm going to say this real quick here before we get into it. Because I thought maybe Thomas Sink was going to be assigned a caution point earlier, and I was concerned with the 5-point penalty. I think they just leveled the playing field. I think Robert Barney's got assessed his 5-point penalty. I think we're back to 0.
This is insane from this race. It is the tension we needed, and yeah, it puts his car in a place it should not be and turns, unfortunately, the 42 of Mike Toomer, And
it gets hit by the Prophet Python machine on back and more from there, so big moment right there. And that's going to, so our playoff graphics do not, we're assuming the 5-point penalties because we've not been official from race control. So I'm assuming both get a 5-point penalty for caution points tonight, and we're back to 0 here as this night rolls on. Happy along with us here, likely for what, 1 more restart you'd think here maybe. And this is going to get tense. So right now, if you're Thomas Sink, you need 2 points because you don't want to have it come down to a tiebreaker. So you need 2 points here. The question I have, remember, Robert Barney got plowed into from the back end by a couple of trucks, Lucas. Do you wonder what damage it may have done to that 26?
That is an excellent question here. I wonder if we can get some angles, trying to see if we can spot maybe some aero damage on that thing. Oh, yeah, look at that. You can see there was one shot. You can see almost a triangular shape from the rear wing of that 26 machine. And I think he's got some rear end damage there, Derrick.
Will that matter? Will it affect the truck? What will happen
look at that.
As this night? Yeah, there you see some damage. So we'll see what happens as this race plays on. So behind Robert Barney, that would be officially, I believe they're scoring Mike Toomer Jr. and Dustin Baumgartner behind him position-wise. But behind him, obviously, there's a couple more trucks back there who want to find their spot. No takers on pit road this time as far as I can see. About 4.5 minutes on the clock. And Bradley Holly, well, this may be the shot he wants. Remember I said he wanted to stay green, but now he gets to line up next to the leader with those new tires. And, I mean, the cycles have come in. You know, obviously heat cycles have happened, but those are 30-lap newer tires. And this time Regan chooses the inside.
Yeah, I think he did that strategically. You talked about how he loves the inside. But when you're seeing a guy like Bradley Holly driving through the field by using that inside line, definitely the line you want to take away from that car.
See, Regan's trying to get that car kind of seesaw back and forth, get some heat in those tires and get it warmed up here. Now with 4 minutes on the clock, we'd have to be hard-pressed to get one more restart in. This may be the last one. And Holly's laying back. The green flag is out, and he was a whole lane behind. What happened to Bradley Holly?
Yeah, that was really, really weird. I think he got probably speed limited, where if you fall too far back on the restart in a league that prohibits your speed on the front row, if you fall too far back, you will just get penalized if you try to make it back up. So I think he just kind of lost focus for a little bit, and now he's fighting for third.
You see the look in his face in that camera shot. He did not look pleased, looked a little stressed out, as you think he would be. Side by side with Mark Kalin. Now 3 minutes on the clock. This is coming down to a quick end right here. And there's a wreck in the back. It's going to be Daniel Knight being told. We'll get no caution. We'll get back to that in a little bit. But up top, side by side, Holly and Kalin. And Holly clears. And he has now 1 second to make up, and caution's out. This may be the race. We'll see if we can get a second restart in with a quick caution. And that is the 89 party of Zach Williams in that Prophet Python machine. And we believe he's going to be at least part of the cause of this caution.
Okay, and look at that. Derrick, the top 10 is lit up with playoff drivers.
Yep, it certainly is. So here's Dino Knight first. He just got to the curbing to the inside of that corner, and it kind of goldfished on him, right? Just kind of flopped around, but he got it saved. That's good. Now here's what happens to Zach Williams in a moment. This will be what brings out the caution. Williams to the outside of Nicholas Acosta, and he just gets it. Nope, I think he maybe got in the back end of Zachary Burnt into the inside wall. So that's your caution. Will the admins get one more caution? We'll try for a quickie here. This may be the redemption Bradley Holly wants. I bet he doesn't get caught sleeping twice on a restart.
Yeah, definitely not. He's going to play it more aggressive. He made a mistake last time. He's going to learn from that here. And now he's got, you know, maybe 2 or 3 more laps to try to attack this 56 machine to fight for that win. Of course, got to look at those playoffs. Robert Barney, 4 points now to the good over Thomas Sink. They are currently sitting 10th and 7th, respectively. So if anything happens ahead of Thomas Sink and he's able to make spots, or if anything happens to Robert Barney and he loses spots, the playoffs are completely turned on their head, and Thomas Sink is above the cut line. It's all down to this last minute and a half.
We'll wait and see what happens. And we are going to go green. We're going to get 1, maybe 2 laps in. Richard Regan to the inside. Let's set your top 5. It's Regan, Holly, Keelan, Jamie Graham's back up top, by the way. James Morgan's right there next to him, I do believe. And then Ted Lowendick for P5. So let's see what happens. Happy you're along for the ride. If you just tuned in, you missed a lot of great racing, but you're in for an amazing finish to this race. Happy you're with us here. And it's ready. Richard Regan is the inside lane. He is the control car. He'll control when to go. Bradley Holly fell back last time. It's not going to happen this time as we get ready. And the green flag is back out at Martinsville.
Although he does fall back again, once again, under pressure from Mark Kalin, has to fight to get back into that second position. And with only, I believe, a minute left on the clock, this is not what he wants.
No, it's not what he wants. We'll see where we stand with the white flag when we come around. These are about 19-second laps. This is going to be 2 to go at the line. 2 to go. Bradley Holly has 2 laps to make up that gap to Richard Regan. Look on back. It's, oh my gosh. It's James Morgan around, and caution's out. We're done. We're absolutely
okay.
done.
Thomas Sink is in 4th place. Robert Barney dropped to 10th. I don't know what the live standings look like, but was that enough for the 48 machine? It is 1 off. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
1 point difference. And that's assuming we'll wait and see whether iRacing lines them up. So we'll wait a minute here. But I thought I saw the 1 car spin the 12. If so, that's going to be an interesting story because earlier the 12 spun the 1. So I'm not sure. We'll wait and see if that does prove to be true in the replay. But that may be an interesting story to develop here, if that is indeed what brought out our last caution. Let's take a look here. So right now your playoffs, your top 4 locked in, and it's going to be Lowendick, Loving, Kalin, and Barney in right now. But for the moment, the webcam will take a look at Richard Regan Jr., the driver who has dominated at times this league. Has really had a rough season, some virtual gremlins, some tough races, some frustrating moments, but he gets to come back to victory lane in the month of October. So you know, see all the win stickers back there behind his, under his name. You'll get to add 1 more tonight. Are you ready to go down? What? Well, here's the replay, by the way.
Oh.
Yep, the 1 car just got in the back end of Morgan and just dumped him. I'm going to be very honest about it. That's exactly what that is. And here we go. As here is your race winner. Richard Regan Jr. takes the checkered flag already, is wanting to celebrate as he comes down to the cool down lap, and he gets to celebrate a win at Martinsville. We're going to watch some amazing burnouts from the driver of the 56. He's won enough, Lucas. He knows how to do them.
Yeah, and I just like listening to that engine roar, those tires squeal, as he is doing them much better than I have ever much than I have ever done. I'll tell you that for free.
Yeah, he loves these long burnouts. It's almost become a little contest at how long can we go around the track on a single burnout. Almost over at the corner here. We're at the corner line here. We're doing pretty good. We're into turn 4. And I thought he was just going to lose it, but he's still got it going on. Can he get it into turn 3? We'll wait and see before we get to our official results here. But right now, all up here, I think the burnout, he's got the smoke going, but the car is kind of going straight here, guys. I'm not sure when we're going to call it right there
There it
in
goes.
the middle of the corner. Let's take a look at unofficial results. I'm sure a lot to be looked through by the race admins, but here is how they came across the line. Richard Regan Jr. is your winner over top of Bradley Holly. Mark Kalen's in third. Thomas Sinks in fourth. Jamie Graham is in P5. Ted Lowendick, Steve Loving, Doyle Lawrence, Doug Evans, and Robert Barney round out your top 10.
And then finishing in 11th position, of course, is Dustin Bumgarner. Behind him, Stacey Hunter, James Morgan, Mike Toomer Jr., Matt Gagnon. And then a lap down at Zachary Burnt, Daniel Knight, Nick Hunter. 3 laps down, Nicholas Godina. And 4 laps down, Nicholas Acosta.
Moving back into P21, Nick Seraph is 5 laps down. To get to the drivers who did not finish this race: Zach Williams, Colton Easterday, Jacob Dunn with that big wreck. He finishes P24. Brett Adams, Colton Lane, Nick Byer, Evan Williams, and Jeff Evans round out a 29 car fin. Let's look top to bottom at tonight's unofficial results here at Martinsville. Well, before we do any further, I want to welcome you in to the Regan Bogue Motorsports post-race show. You know, speed is just the starting point, but success is built through discipline, focus, and development. At Regan Bogue Motorsports, their iRacing coaching is built to develop winners through one-on-one training. The focus is on the fundamentals that turn fast drivers into champions, be a smart racecraft, disciplined decision-making, and pressure-proof performance. This isn't about quick fixes, it's about building a foundation for lasting success. Regan Bogue Motorsports, developed for wins, built for championship. Well, I think it's only fitting that we bring in the owner of Regan Bogue Motorsports and welcome him into the Regan Bogue Motorsports post-race show. Rich, it's been a while since you've been up here at a winter interview. How's it feel?
Oh man, you know, it feels good to come back to Victory Lane after a couple-week hiatus, and after dealing with all the problems and the VR changes and computer crashes and having to reinstall Windows like 20 times. I'm not even kidding. It's nice to get back in Victory Lane.
Yeah, but it does feel good, buddy. It was a long night. You see you still kind of cranking the wheel, kind of getting that groove back in. And so obviously a wild night behind you. You never really fell much further back than P4, but pretty wild night behind you. I'm sure you were probably both happy and frustrated to see all the cautions.
Yeah, definitely a little frustrated just because we had a couple really nice long green flag runs there, and that was pretty awesome to see. I think realistically what hurt the field was the difference in tire strategy, and obviously once you get that first caution after we have the different tire strategies, everyone's going to start to become impatient and drive way more aggressive. But it was nice to see that we got a very long green flag run in there. It was definitely a nice change for once at Martinsville.
Well, really no surprise. You came in tonight basically virtually locked in on points, but you go in and you snag that win just to do it. Does that help you feel like you have a little bit of momentum going into Phoenix?
Yeah, for sure. You know, momentum is very crucial to have, you know, especially when it's playoff time. So hopefully we go out next week and we can get the job done and put our Victory Lane again, and then we can start worrying about Auto Club. But until we get locked into the round of 4, we're going to start trying to just try to prepare the best we can every week.
Buddy, well, listen, it's always a pleasure watching your race. I'll let you do your thing. Who do you want to say hello to or give a shout out to?
Yeah, for sure. I got to give a shout out to everyone at Regan Bogue Motorsports that puts in the work every week. It's nice to see we got a good group of guys over there putting in effort, definitely improving a lot this year, and hopefully next year we'll keep improving. Susan G. Coleman, Race for the Cure, Mission 22, Neonas and Paints, Jay-Z Photography, Multiple Sclerosis Society, Kaylee Sweet Creations, everybody that helps support Premier Sim Racing, and then you guys at Green Flag TV.
All right, buddy. Once again, congrats on the win, and we'll see you in 1 week in the desert.
Thank you.
All right, that is your winner. Richard Regan Jr. comes home with a win on the season. Now we'll move back, and I believe Lucas Moody has caught up with our P2 finisher and Bradley Holly.
Yes, welcome in Bradley Holly, our second place finisher. Talk us through that tire strategy, pitting late and, you know, really able to make your way through the field, finishing second here.
Yeah, definitely. When I realized how many cars were on the lead lap, I figured why the heck not, and I knew at least a couple more would go with me. So Figured to try to get a tire advantage to try to be a little bit quicker because after 15, 20 laps, I seemed to be a little bit off pace. So I would try to find some kind of advantage to try to get by Richard.
Yeah, and we saw those last two restarts. Anything that was happening there, it saw like you were a little bit farther back off of Richard on those restarts. Was everything okay there?
Yeah, I just, I don't want to get a black flag for passing Richard or being too fast. So I'm a little more cautious when it comes to that stuff, especially here. It's difficult. You have to be at least half car width ahead of them going into turn 3. And with how close we were to the pace car, it just wasn't worth it.
Yeah, it's kind of what I assumed, that speed limiter that iRacing gives you, inhibiting your ability to stay side by side. And I see all the Star Wars figurines in the background. I'm gonna go ahead and ask you what your favorite episode is.
Probably episode 3.
Ooh, that's
honestly,
a good one.
That's probably one of my favorites, just because it's got some of the best fight scenes in my opinion, and I just like Star Wars. I'll watch everything.
Nice.
I can't wait for some more Mandalorian and Obi-Wan to come out.
Yeah, and of course, the last question for you here today is: do you have any sponsors or people that you'd like to shout out or thank you?
I want to thank you guys for broadcasting us week in and week out. I always enjoy going back and watching the races when I'm working out, and then all the Waterback guys for working hard and trying to figure out best strategy to run a race and have some fun.
All right, well, thank you for joining us, Bradley Hawley.
Thank you.
All right, and that was our second place finisher, Bradley Hawley, and I believe Derrick has caught up with our pole sitter and third place finisher, Kalen.
Yeah, let's run. Welcome in Mark, Kalen, in the broadcast booth. Mark, welcome in. First off, I gotta say, that room is just growing massive behind you. It used to be again a blank room. Now you got a computer back there, a couch, some Lego sets on the wall. There's still no Titanic sets. Want to point that out, but it's growing. It looks nice back there.
Yeah. Did you happen to notice what is playing on the other computer there, Derrick?
It's kind of hard to tell from back here. I'm hoping it's the broadcast, but it's a little, yeah, I think it is the broadcast. You kind of it's like Markception back there.
It is the broadcast playing in the backfield or the background, and the Titanic is still yet of completion due to pressing matters with home repairs. So finally got that taken care of though. So hopefully back to building Titanic and get it completed here shortly.
Well, what may have felt like a Titanic-sized problem tonight was trying to make sure you locked yourself into the playoffs, and we're confident you've done that. You ran up top all night long. You have the fastest lap. You got the pole award. Did it take just a bit of pressure off when you snagged the pole before the race even began?
Oh, absolutely. Knowing that I would have that extra bonus point right there, just pretty much solidified it for me in my mind that I was going to have a good night and a good finish. So my goal was to, while give the appearance of being aggressive, just keep the truck clean and not put myself in any dangerous situations. And I tried to keep Richard behind me, but I know when it comes to these short tracks, I consider myself really good on short tracks, but he's a GOAT. He's the Tom Brady of these short tracks, and we were talking about it before the interview. He just found a little something with the brake bias that I couldn't because I was trying, and that's when he really started cooking. So it was hard to run him down, but we had a good fight, and it was a lot of fun.
Well, we move ahead to Phoenix now. You move into the round of 8. Of the 3 tracks ahead, which do you feel the most confident about, and which do you feel the least confident about?
I would say Phoenix and Michigan are definitely going to prove better for me than COTA. It's been a while, and I'm not sure what layout COTA is going to be, but I know I had a good showing at the Roval.
Yeah, I believe it's with the NASCAR version from this year, just to give you the hint there.
Okay. Then I'm going to be hopeful for a top 5 finish, but I'm not going to expect too much more than that. And if I do, just like on the Roval, I wasn't expecting anything there, but I had a second place car there before got into a little bit of trouble in the after the pit cycles. But yeah, hopefully I can get a good run through the playoffs and make it to the championship 4 and duke it out with these guys again, like I did last season in the end of the PRL.
Well, listen, well, it's a pleasure watching race every week. Anyone you give a shout out to or say thank you to?
First and foremost, myself for not getting a pit road penalty. I just want to, take a second.
Yeah. Do you know who the sponsor of the race is, out of curiosity?
Yes, I do. Courtesy of my friend Ted. The pit road penalty race, which running joke the whole week. It's awesome. I love these guys. It was super funny when I was shown what was going on. But yeah, it was a struggle the last few weeks getting on pit road, and finally got a good run and good finish, and it came at the perfect time to get me through to the next round of the championship.
Fair enough. Anyone besides yourself you want to say thank you to?
Yes, I'm glad you pointed that out because I'd already forgotten. Yeah, I want to give my wife a shout out for supporting me, my parents for watching the broadcast back and forth. You guys up in the booth, y'all put on a heck of a show, even when it's somewhat boring like Martinsville. And then everyone that helps put on the league. These guys work hard to make sure everything's fair and competitive, and so just a lot of love to give out, and hopefully it's well received.
Awesome, buddy. Well, listen, congrats tonight on the solid finish, and we'll see you soon next week in the desert.
Sounds good. Take it easy, guys.
All right, that wraps up our podium interview section of the Regenboog Motorsports post-race show. Well, Lucas, a wild race, lots of calamity, lots of damage, and lots of drama, but we believe we've locked in our round of 8.
I mean, yeah, this short track absolutely delivered here today. 1 point away was the difference between 8th and 9th position. We had a fight for the lead right at the end. We had everything happening up and down the field. It was just an absolute spectacle out there tonight.
Well, let's take a look unofficially at the points. We'll wait for any post-race reviews to come out, but this is how we believe they run at the moment. We'll show you the points here in just a second. We'll end it right here. So your top 4 locked in, and then you go back to P5. Lowendick, Loving, Kalen, and Barney. Ends up being a 1-point difference between Barney and Sink, with Jacob Dunn back in P10. Well, stay tuned. After this race, we're going to send you over to the Beer League. They're running, catch this, Lucas, the Pro 2 trucks at the Homestead Road Course. That's going to be fun to watch when we're done here.
Oh my gosh.
First off, I want to say congrats to Richard. Congrats to Richard Regan. He is your winner tonight. 1 week from tonight, it's not October 22nd, it's October 29th. 1 week from tonight, the Phoenix Raceway is where you'll catch the next round of Premier Sim Racing. If you catch this race, or if you miss this race, you can catch this race and every race from Premier Sim Racing in the Outlap Motorsports Truck Series here on the Green Flag TV YouTube channel. For Dustin, Ollis, and Lucas Moody, I am Derrick Watson saying so long and good night from the Paperclip.